Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of the Sports and Shorts podcast. We've got a little bit of an emergency episode here. There's been too much sports happening in the last few days. Too much news has come out that we needed to chime in on some football news here. So in the NFL, there's been a whole bunch of trades, some really, really big ones, some free agency signings, some news that has come out today as well about a certain quarterback who we'll get into a little bit later. But I think we'll start on at least what I think is probably the most important and the most influential move. Something we spoke upon a little bit in the last podcast we did with all of our guests that we had, talking about the Broncos. They happened to make a move that was mentioned in that podcast. Russell Wilson from the Seahawks to the Broncos. What are the thoughts on that here, gentlemen? What do we think?
A monumental deal. It is probably the biggest trade in the NFL since the Herschel Walker deal.
Think so.
Yeah. It's got it. Yeah. I don't know. Do you think any bigger trade?
Not off the top of my head.
30 years?
Not off the top of my head. Not that I've seen, honestly.
Now that you say that, there aren't like ginormous football trades. Now, like I haven't even thought about it's more free agency. It's not even trades. I haven't really thought about that.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely monstrous package.
The sheer volume of everything that got moved. But
who do we think won the deal as of right now? Obviously, the future as of
Seahawks.
Right now.
Seahawks. Yeah. Well, see, dude, the Broncos got fleeced. I don't care that they got Wilson. They got fleeced. They lost Drew Lock, which is fine. That's absolutely fine because you got Russell replacing him. You lost Noah Fant, and he was supposed to be a huge tight end for you guys for the next, I don't know how many years. Lost him. And then how many fucking draft picks did they lose?
2 first-round picks, second-round pick, 5th-round pick.
Holy
so
fuck,
5 picks
dude.
in total.
And then who the other player? They got one more player.
6 picks, sorry.
They got one more
Shelby
player.
Harris.
Yeah, they got
solid.
Shelby.
Yeah. So you got a starting caliber, a solid tight end. You got a solid role play, a contributor in Shelby Harris. Drew Lock. He didn't really have much value. A top 10 first-round pick with the 9th overall this year. I think it was this year. And then you got 2 seconds, and then the other first, which, at this point, Broncos are probably a playoff team. But I wanted to get into that. I don't think that – I think people are overrating the Broncos too.
Well, 100%.
Unless they win a Super Bowl with Wilson, that is an easy win by the Seahawks.
Yeah. Well, this is going to tell us if Russell is on a decline or if kind of what's his name, Pete Carroll was kind of on a decline. So we'll kind of see this upcoming year. But immediately, obviously, I think the Broncos win the trade because you have a top probably 5-6 quarterback in the NFL, and you got some top tier wide receivers as well. The offense, I think, is fine for Denver, but I'm just concerned about their defense. They have Surtain, but who else do they have? Because they lost Von Miller.
The big thing, I think that they have a good defense. Defense was definitely their best asset last year.
Okay, so they have a bunch of no names that are just good.
And then they traded Vaughn.
Yeah.
But the thing, Justin Simmons, he's one of the best safeties in the league.
Oh.
And he's a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be I don't think they tagged him. I could be wrong. Or if depending on but the thing, half the time when you tag someone, they won't play on the franchise tag.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know
I will tell you, as a non-football guy, the franchise tag is the most confusing thing I've ever seen.
Well, it's just a very annoying thing that the NFL has.
Fair enough.
It sucks. Well, because you got a ton of guys on your roster.
Yeah.
So it's you pick one guy to throw the tag on, shoves the problem down the road. So
it's an interesting concept, I will say.
It is cool. It kind of works, I think. I think it does kind of work for NFL. But anyway, so Seahawks this year, you got Drew Lock and you got Noah Fant. And he still has that wide receiver core, but it's going to take a lot of time to build that chemistry. And so who knows if the Seahawks even want to take the time to build that chemistry? Because do you think Drew Lock is going to be a guy that they stick with for the next like however many years? I don't
Probably
think
not.
so.
I mean, they could take someone with the pick.
They could take someone this year.
Yeah. They
What
could
pick
just
do they
take
have?
All of a sudden, they're just in the
9.
Yeah.
Because they
All of
don't
a
have
sudden
their
they're
own
in the mix.
first-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I mean, that the Broncos are probably a playoff team now. Oh my God, that division.
Oh my goodness.
Holy.
Is that stacked or what? Because Derek Carr is getting hot too, and he's about to sign. Or did he already sign?
Carr?
Yeah.
I think, yeah, Carr signed.
Oh fuck.
I don't
man.
think he's a free agent.
No, he's not a free agent.
I thought he had. I thought his contract was coming to an end.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, man, but like that division is loaded.
Yeah,
the
I mean,
AFC is
yeah.
loaded.
Yeah, I mean, they're. You know what? That kind of reminds me of what we thought the NFC.
Carr's got 1 year left on his deal. To interrupt you.
Okay, got it. Thank you. I was gonna say AFC West is reminding me of what we thought the NFC South was gonna be last year, or I guess 2 years ago when Tom Brady came in. Because you have Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Matt Ryan, and then they had whoever they had at quarterback. I guess Bridgewater, the Panthers. About 2 years ago. But it's a similar circumstance. You got Mahomes, Herbert, Carr, and now you got Russell Wilson. So that's gonna be a hell of a division.
I mean, who's the NFC have now? The
And well, we got Rodgers.
Rodgers and Stafford. Those are the top 2 QB, and then there's a big drop.
Yeah.
Don't
Well,
forget about Jalen Hurts here.
yeah, settle down there, Kim.
Yeah, you got a big drop, and then you got Rodgers and Stafford, who I think are your clear cut top 2. You got a big drop, probably down to
Well, Dak's number 3.
Dak and Kyler.
Dak's number 3. So
And then there's I don't think there's anyone past the top 4.
I can't even name a guy for you.
Matt Ryan.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know. But anyways,
Well,
yeah.
to take that transition into a guy who definitely is not in the top 4 or 5, but moving from one team to another here. He's been in the division before. We had a trade going down on Wednesday, another quarterback, former Eagle, Mr. Carson Wentz from the Colts to
Washington.
the Washington Commanders. Now, I know at least from an Eagles fan perspective, I absolutely love the trade. I am going to love the time that he comes back to Philadelphia. Obviously, didn't go out necessarily like a Ben Simmons did or whatever, but Eagles fans in particular are so petty, and he is going to face a very interesting reception when the Commanders come into Philly for that game. I wanted to say it's early in the season, if I'm not mistaken. But that's a big move as well. I mean, he's a guy who, obviously got himself a Super Bowl in Philly. How much of that he contributed to, he contributed to a decent amount of it. And, didn't do amazing with the Colts, got up to the last game and, didn't play amazing from at least
it was the last 2 games.
Or last 2
He had
games.
good numbers. He had good numbers with the Colts. The problem, he just goofs at the wrong time, and he'll make some
Exactly.
discretion
He
plays.
only had 7 interceptions last year, and I think all 7 were at the worst possible time.
Yeah,
That's his problem because, he does put up good numbers.
he's
and
not like terrible.
he is a
I
solid.
think I see all Eagles fans, throwing a party out in the street. And I'm taking, you're not a huge football guy, but I'm still taking a shot at you guys. And you're
All right.
But that is one of the worst playoff teams I've ever seen make the playoffs.
Who, the Eagles?
Yeah, this past season.
Oh, well, what do you mean? As in, like, the team
past
shouldn't have
season.
been in the playoffs?
Yeah, there's
or-
no way they should have been. there.
Oh, absolutely. No, I don't
And
disagree with
that
at
is one of
all.
the least
No, that's
talented rosters to make the playoffs
Oh, I would not disagree with that.
recently.
No,
and
they were not.
they're out here throwing a party about Carson Wentz coming back to the division.
Oh,
When
it's
the
just a
quarterback-
petty thing. It's a petty thing.
Yeah, of course. But I'm sitting here like, if you ignore the contract, ignore the fact the dude's making like $30 million, and just compare skill, you guys have Jalen Hurts. Wentz is a better quarterback than Hurts by a mile, I think.
Yeah, I unfortunately
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
the
it's
only
an interesting debate. I mean, I'm not the biggest football guy in the world, obviously, so I may be misguided. But obviously the Eagles, they almost pushed Wentz out of town. I mean, when you draft Jalen Hurts, which was a surprise pick to everyone at the time, at least to my understanding, like when they made the pick, even I know who he was, and I was like, but he's a quarterback. Why would you pick a quarterback right now? You have Wentz.
Yeah, they
I
completely
think-
tried to sabotage his career from the start of
Yes.
last or 2 years ago.
Yes.
Giving
Uh,
him literally like we could have ran out there and played receiver.
Hey,
I
he
mean-
he had Nelson Aguilar. Watch out, he can catch football.
Yeah, I'm just not trying any team that takes JJ Arcega Whiteside
Yeah.
and
Jalen
Jalen
Reagor.
Rager
Oh, don't
over
get me started
Justin
about that pick.
Jefferson.
Dude. Listen, I'm not.
JJ over DK Metcalf.
I'll be the first person to admit I'm not a football guy, but when I saw that pick, I was like, I didn't. With all honesty, I didn't know who Justin Jefferson was before the draft. I don't watch college football. I didn't know who he was. I was like, I watched the highlights. I want that guy. I like that guy. I see this big ass wide receiver and Metcalf. I'm like, I want that guy too. Like, to me, those were obvious picks. Both picks have shit the bed. Our Sega Whiteside, I can't catch, the bright side of a barn.
Oh my God, is he
Rager-
not on the team anymore?
I don't think so, but I could be wrong. I know Aguilar is on
Sure he
the
is.
Saints
Sure
at
he's
this
there.
point.
Yeah. I know Aguilar's gone, but Aguilar actually had
Ra-
some good.
Yeah, he had his
moments
moments.
to him.
It's just hilarious.
Ray-
You guys always got these receivers that can't catch a ball.
The last one you could catch, what? Deshaun Jackson?
Yeah, but I mean, you got Devontae Smith now.
They got Devontae.
That's
man.
true.
He's good.
I like
He's
him.
good.
He's good. He's good.
He's good.
They're
yeah.
chill.
All right. Well, enough about the shitty football team that happens to play in the.
Well, I was just gonna say about Carson. He's a fantastic person, and
Yeah, sure.
he's had injury problems his career. But last
Yeah.
season, I don't think he missed a single game. And so if he continues that, and his mechanics are fine. I mean, his one problem, which is the biggest problem, is his kind of decision making in like the clutch moments.
The problem as a quarterback.
Yeah, and so like my fear is that like that's something that you can't really work on that. That's just all mental. So
Plus,
with that being
the
said,
Commanders
uh-huh.
have not been known, or the Redskins at formerly when they made these sorts of decisions, they've not been known to have the most trustworthy quarterbacks in the world, from my
No.
understanding.
No.
So
Yeah, I think
Well-
it was a desperate move.
Yeah.
They were just desperate for a QB.
Well, they're
I
still gonna
don't
get a
think
guy
this-
in the draft too.
I don't think it does anything to their team, honestly. Like
Mhm.
it's not gonna turn them into a playoff team. They're not a playoff team this year.
because
I don't
who can catch a football in that team? I mean, you
Yeah.
got
Terry McLaurin.
Terry McLaurin, one of the
right?
best
Yeah.
receiver.
Yeah,
he's
he's-
probably the most underrated receiver in the entire NFL.
I can't believe he's still underrated. at
He's
this point,
so
man.
freaking good.
Oh man.
I don't know. I saw.
Thank
I
you
know-
Fitz, for him on fantasy, by the way, last year. Appreciate
Oh,
that.
of course.
I know we were talking the AFC West and Derek Carr. I know. I mean, there've been not really anything substantial, but could the Raiders move Carr? I thought that would have been a great place. Washington would have been a great place.
Oh,
for
Washington.
him.
hmm
But yeah, I mean, it looks like for now he's staying in Vegas. But I saw on Twitter, man, it must just. I mean, with the division, all that, it must suck to be a Raiders fan. I know I saw you got everyone else in your division is just absolutely going off. Like we'll mention a little
Yeah.
Khalil Mack deal here soon.
Yeah.
And then the expectations for the Raiders, I saw someone say was you just gotta hope our first round pick this year doesn't get arrested.
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah.
mean, that is the state of that franchise at this point right now.
Yep.
With with everything that happened last year, somehow they overcame. Like, what a great job, like by that team, perseverance and
Mhm.
everything.
Yeah.
Overcome what they overcame last year.
Well, they have a new head coach in there. Who is it?
they have a new head coach. I don't know why they didn't keep.
Who is it?
Rick. Who
Oh,
is
I
it?
know. They should have kept their guy. But
They should have kept him. But
Yeah.
at this point, like I mean, they're just gonna have to lay down, like roll over for their division rivals.
who the hell did they bring in?
Josh McDaniels.
Oh, from the Patriots, right?
Yes, Patriots.
Yeah, Patriots
He
OC.
spent 18 years with the Patriots, 13 seasons as the team's offensive coordinator.
I don't like him, man.
He's
He,
not going to do anything for
yeah,
him. I don't think
I
he's gonna do
remember.
anything.
I remember a few years back. I think like he like almost signed with the Colts. Like the news was out that he was going to head
And he
coach the
flaked,
Colts, and
yeah.
oh yeah, he flaked out. I don't like that guy.
No, I don't think he's going to do anything as head coach. The dude's a pawn of Belichick's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, moving on from the offensive side of things, I'm sure we'll get back there a little bit later. Chris, you mentioned a little bit earlier. Obviously, bigger trade than a Wentz trade. Not as big, I'd say, as a Wilson trade. You've got, shifting the defensive side of things here. We've got Khalil Mack, who, if he plays defense, and I know him, he's pretty damn good. Moving from the Bears to the Chargers, who already have a pretty darn good defensive player in Joey Bosa. That team, I mean, they're an offensive heavy team from my understanding. I mean, you've got one of the best younger quarterbacks in the league, in a division like we've talked about is unreal when it comes to quarterbacks. Quarterback's going to be a little more scared now with Khalil Mack entering the picture. What are our thoughts on that?
Well, Chargers are going to be a lot better defensively. to say the
Let's
least.
hope so. That defense was atrocious. It is a travesty what
They
they're
did. They lost
Justin
them a few
Herbert.
games. They did lose them a few games last year.
That yeah, I mean they had one of the worst defenses in the entire league.
Yeah.
I would say they were definitely the worst defense with the best offense, if that makes sense. And you got a guy in Justin Herbert, who I am a Herbert fanatic, a Herbert lover. I love Herbert.
We know. Yeah, we know.
That guy could be the best quarterback of all time.
Mm-hmm.
He makes
That's
some of the most miraculous plays I've ever seen done on a football field.
Yeah.
I do not feel like I feel like I do not deserve to watch him play. I feel like I do not deserve the privilege to watch him play. I never deserve to be in the same room as that man. He is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, good thing that probably never happened, to be fair.
True.
Yeah.
But I don't deserve to watch him play either.
I know.
Like he is just so good.
Yeah.
And if they waste his talent like they did with so many others in San Diego and then LA, it's gonna be. You just need to fold the franchise. Spanos, just sell the team immediately, like as fast as you possibly can. I think that the NFL will need to take the team from them. But yeah, it's nice to see them trying. Although I don't think pass rush is their number one need, but it's definitely gonna help.
No, but it'll facilitate the defense. And
it'll help. There's more work to do. There's more work to do on the defense.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. But when Mac went to the Bears, I mean, he turned that team around, and he is older now, and he is more banged up. But remember when he went to the Bears? I mean, they go 12-4 that one year, and they were a top seed, and they got knocked out by the fucking Eagles on the double doink. But anyways, Mac, I think single-handedly turned that team around. Well, okay, maybe not because they had a lot of great defensive pieces on that team.
They had a lot of great defensive pieces.
Yeah.
They got a good season from Trubisky.
Yeah. So, Chargers got Mike Williams coming back.
Re-signed him. I think overpaid.
That's fantastic. Overpaid?
The number one thing is overpaid. The dude cannot stay healthy, and he only catches touchdowns. Which obviously you need touchdowns, but he is
interesting.
He's a home run or bust kind of guy.
Yeah.
He's going to either get you like an 80-yard touchdown or be a red zone threat, or he won't catch a ball the entire game.
That's fair.
I think it's a bit too much.
Mm-hmm.
But I know the Chargers have the money. I mean, you got, like I've been saying, you got one of the best quarterbacks in the entire league already on his rookie deal. Now is when you kind of go for it when you have him locked up cheap before he gets a couple $100 million in his pocket.
Yeah.
So I mean, you got to keep those guys around, and they have the pre-established chemistry, the connection. So I think pure just talent to dollars or pure production dollars. I think it's a little too much, but I don't think it's something. I don't think it's like a vast overpay or it's going to be a huge problem or anything.
The fuck was I gonna ask? Any more offensive pieces that the Chargers need to keep up in this division, or is it all defense at this point?
I think it's got to be all defense. You got Keenan Allen, Mike
Eckler.
Williams. You got Eckler. You got a great running back. You got solid Justin Jackson too. He's
Mhm.
got a solid
Yeah.
all-around backfield. Who's the third guy? Palmer, something like that, number 5.
Oh, Josh Palmer from Tennessee.
Yeah, dude.
Fucking
Josh,
right.
he's a solid slot, like
Hell yeah,
he's a
dude.
solid number 3 option
Yes,
there.
sir.
You
Yes,
got Rashawn
sir.
Slater, who is
Mhm.
going to be one of the best offensive linemen,
Yeah.
one of the best tackles already.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I mean, you can never have. I think the offensive line is average. If you really, you can add some pieces there, make some improvements, but
Yeah.
I think it's going to be all defense. Definitely secondary.
Uh-huh.
I think secondary has to be a focus.
Let's see who's a guy that they could go after. What about is it JC Jackson from
J.C. Jackson, Stephon Gilmore kind of move.
oh, Gilmore's out there too, yeah.
Yeah,
It's gotta be one of those guys.
one of
Gotta
those.
bring one
could
of them
be.
in.
One of those guys make. I mean, that division.
Just
but-
need a name back there. Do they still have what's his name? Derwin James? What's his name?
Yeah, they
There?
got James.
Okay, they got James back there. Good.
So I mean, you got some star, like we'll say J.C. Jackson,
Mhm.
hypothetically.
Yep.
J.C. Jackson, Derwin James in the secondary. You got Bosa and Mack on the line, in the pass rush. You got an extremely underrated linebacker, a great linebacker, Kaiser White.
Yeah. Chargers are looking good.
You got then that makes them a serviceable defense. I think Chargers are that makes them a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah.
I think they can be. They should have 100% made the playoffs last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it makes them. I don't know. Super Bowl contender is necessarily right just because of the inexperience. We'll say playoff inexperience and
Mhm.
such like that. But definitely they could make a run.
Mm-hmm. In that
Sometime
stacked AFC, man, that's a little unfair. How
Yeah.
stacked that.
But
dude,
I
that's,
think you got the stacked division, obviously. But I
Mhm.
think that is something that'll help.
yeah,
once
builds
you got-
builds their resume and everything.
You got iron sharpens iron.
yeah, it's very true.
The more you're getting, you're playing these top
What an
teams.
analogy. How are you?
Yeah, yeah. You got all these top teams fighting each other out and
Yeah.
just banging each other around all year. And you get to the playoffs and you are that, you have toned yourself and really touched up your game all year playing the top competition.
Mhm.
I think that really helps. Something like the Rams, going up
Oh, yeah.
Cardinals
Yeah.
and Niners. You got 3 playoff teams in that division.
Seahawks, yeah.
And then the Seahawks, who were bad. I mean, they weren't good, and they missed Wilson, but still, I think. I mean, they weren't a terrible team.
Mm-hmm.
They were, still they could still,
They
especially
compete. Hell yeah.
especially against division rivals.
Yeah.
They were going to hang in there.
Mhm.
And then so you see the Rams get there, and once they get to the playoffs, they're prepared. They're all, they've touched up their game, things
Mhm.
like that. I think a really strong division helps.
Hell yeah.
Like you
So-
say, iron sharpens iron.
Cowboys are creating a lot of cap space, Mr. Chris. So we've restructured Dak's deal. We've restructured Zach Martin. And I think that freed up 22 mil. And today we just cut Greg the Leg and Blake Jarwin, he wasn't even going to be ready for the start of 2022 because he had some like freak hip injury. But with all that, we're clearly cutting space for a reason, or I guess we kind of had to because we were pretty under the cap. But with that extra money, I could see the Cowboys going after Bobby Wagner, and obviously we're linked to him.
As a Rams fan in the division, they got their Super Bowl, but I could see how you got to feel for the Seahawks and the Seahawks fans. You lost Wilson and Wagner on this Saturday.
Yeah.
The best player on each side of the ball.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm still feeling good if I'm a Seahawks fan because you're going to have 1 or 2 years that are not going to be too well. But I mean, with that, dude, they basically have like a whole season's draft from courtesy of fucking Broncos. So
Yeah.
I think they're all right.
Yeah, but there's going to be a lot of teams in. I mean, Bobby Wagner is still
I
a
know,
top
I know.
linebacker in the game.
I know.
There's going to be a
Yeah.
ton of teams on him. I know my Rams need a linebacker bad.
Yeah. Well, Leighton Vander Esch is probably going to be hitting the market too. So
Vander Esch,
that leaves a spot open in the linebacker core. So
Yeah,
We'll see.
Cowboys could be a.
Can you imagine, dude, Parsons back there with fucking Wagner? Holy shit.
Yeah,
Oh god, that'd be unreal.
I like-
secondary does need to be addressed still.
I'm bringing out. Oh yeah, you got the most overrated.
Just like
player in the
every
entire league.
year of my life, just secondary has been an issue. But
The most Trayvon Diggs somehow, he got an absolute blessing.
yeah, but he's still
You know?
he's a ball hawk, man.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter if you give 1,000 yards.
Dude, that is 11. That is 11 like fucking game changing turnovers. That's huge.
So,
If you can get that
11
from one guy.
11 turnovers. So every turnover he gets, he's pretty much giving up 100 yards to the opposing receiver.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And there he is.
It equates. All right, that's fine.
All
That's
right,
fine.
all
He's
right,
got a year to pick it up. He's all right.
all right.
That was
So,
only
Cam,
his second year, man. Relax.
All right. I just want so I know Cam, you were liking my analogies. I got another one for you.
Hit me. I'm so looking forward to this.
Since Christian, wants to talk about the Cowboys,
Yep.
and we'll link this back. Go watch our previous episode on
Yep.
the MLB offseason. Mets are gonna Met, and the Cowboys are just gonna be the Cowboys.
Yeah, dude.
Fair point. I like
Yeah.
it. So, Christian,
Mhm.
if you're making decisions for the Cowboys right now, if you're in
Yeah.
charge,
Yep.
give me one move besides Wagner, because I know you want him.
Mhm.
One other move aside Wagner you want to make. Who do you think they're going after? Who do you want them to go after? Maybe just a position in general. What do you think?
Yeah,
Besides
well,
secondary. Well,
I would love. I think Anthony Brown is going to be a free agent, and he needs to just walk. And like I said with the Chargers, J.C. Jackson's a guy that needs to come to Dallas for clear reasons that we were stating before. Secondary is very weak, and we have Trayvon Diggs, who has a big name, but obviously was a little controversial there. But
Do you realistically think with your roster you are Super Bowl contenders?
dude, I mean, with our roster, yeah, but it just depends on which Cowboys are going to come out and play that.
because
day.
you're not a Dak guy, are you?
I am a Dak guy, but man, if he he has his days and he doesn't have his days. And so, I mean, he started the damn year off so well, and I was so happy for him. But I mean, after the Broncos game, fucking A, man, he just, I don't know, his decision making was just kind of horrid at times, and it makes you wonder, like, what the fuck's going on? Like, how is this guy making that much money? And that's always the case when you sign a guy for that much. So I'm a little worried that the team is on Dak's shoulders here. So if Dak's not going to perform, the rest of the team's not going to perform because the defense bailed him out. I don't know how many times last year. We led the league in like turnovers. And, if your defense is that good and you can't get a win against the fucking 49ers at home, I don't know. I don't care how much of a scary team 49ers were. I don't care about the matchups. Like, that's just unreal that you can't fucking beat those guys.
You guys also
Your
have
own
terrible
building.
You guys,
McCarthy,
you don't have Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy's your coach.
I know, man. I
So-
know.
And I like we said earlier, with the AFC West, how you're playing that competition and that prepares you.
Yeah.
Much like both the Western divisions, NFC and AFC West, both are really, really good divisions.
Yep.
Teams coming out of there are going to be prepared. And versus the NFC East, who last year, worst division of football. This year, probably the second worst division in football.
We were second or third. We were all right this year.
It's the second worst division in football.
Yep.
So when you're going up, like last year, for example,
Mhm.
you're playing Daniel Jones, Jalen Hurts, and Taylor Heineke the whole year.
Yeah.
You walk in, even Jimmy Garoppolo's not great, and you just have no idea what to do
Yeah.
once you play a competent football team.
I'll be honest, like if we put up 50 against Washington and we put up like 40 against the Eagles twice or whatever, I mean, you would think if you're putting up numbers that big, you can at least do all right against these good teams. But it's like what we saw last year was just like a fucking offensive collapse when we would play those teams. And it was just sad to see. It's like, cool, you could put up 50 against Washington, but you can only put up like, I don't know. I don't know. Lose my train of thought. I'm getting a little upset here.
Yeah, I didn't mean to ignite a fuse here for you, Chris.
No,
I
I was-
apologize, but
what I wanted to see when Garrett left, I wanted Lincoln Riley, man. I wanted Lincoln Riley because that is a capable coach right there. Huge name, and we got to use our college players as an asset, and Lincoln is best for the job there. So
Yeah, I mean, like I was talking about the strength of schedule and such. The best thing, like to equate it, like college football, you got these top tier teams
yeah,
like UCF and Cincinnati and such, but then you're going to go and throw them against an Alabama,
Mhm.
and obviously they're going to look good against Tulsa, but then when they go play Bama, they're going to get slaughtered.
I know, but dude, the difference
that's
is the difference is these are NFL teams. Like these are professional football.
It's not a perfect analogy,
Yeah.
but it's like when you go see the Cowboys slaughter the Giants. No
right.
stock at all.
All right, Giants don't count. They're a joke. But
The Eagles, no stock should be.
Hey,
why? Okay,
we're talking about
Eagles,
the Commanders here. Commanders are the team we're talking about.
Washington.
Don't bring my Eagles into this. There
No
you go.
stock should be put. That
Dude,
is
Washington
wins for any
had
team in the league.
Washington had a fine roster, if you ask me. I thought Washington was going to be good last year.
Washington, they had no court. They had Taylor Heineke as a quarterback.
Oh yeah, but come on, they had Fitzpatrick coming in. We thought he was going to be their guy for the year.
But he didn't. He played like 3 games.
Their defensive line was like the best in football.
They had a bottom 10 defense last year.
I know they did, and I don't know what the hell happened because they have. I thought I could have swore, man, they had all the pieces and headed by Ron
They have
Rivera.
the names, but they just don't play.
Well, I know, and I don't know why because you're playing under Rivera and he's a fucking beast. So I don't understand. I mean, with all the injuries, or I guess I don't know, the Redskins had, or sorry, excuse me, Washington had too many injuries there, but obviously
Fitzpatrick's a big one.
Well, and then Chase Young too, halfway through the year.
Yeah, the ACL thing. Yep.
But other than that, I don't think they had too many injuries.
Because
So
Allen was healthy the whole year, right?
yeah,
I think.
Allen
right?
was,
Yeah.
Payne was.
Warren played pretty much the whole year.
Montez Sweat was hurt there for a little bit.
I
But
believe that's a name, by the way, just to point that out.
well, who'd they have for linebacker? I don't remember, but they had Landon Collins back there too. I mean, that's a good defense.
They got cooked in the pass game. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well,
I don't know.
Like
And
Chris's
then,
analogies earlier, you know what they say: the Commanders are going to Redskins, I suppose.
Yeah.
So they'll find
Yeah.
a way. They'll find a way.
anyways, man.
Well, there's 2 guys I want to talk about a little bit more here if we got the time. We're going back to offense for both of them. Now, as of this recording, a few hours ago, the news came out about Deshaun Watson.
He will not face any.
He won't face
charges.
any criminal charges. So that was a tweet that I don't know if Adam Schefter was first on that. I don't think he was. But
Yeah,
regardless.
but he's hot on the market now.
Yeah. So
Officially.
where do we think Deshaun Watson's going? Because obviously with the news coming out, teams are going to be more inclined to go after him.
Yeah.
I've seen, what was the one? I think
Well,
it was Carolina. I saw big on
I
him.
wonder if Pittsburgh goes and gets him.
Pittsburgh. Yeah, I think it's got to be Pennsylvania team. Pittsburgh,
Ooh.
Philly.
Okay. I like it.
Ooh.
But
Well, I don't like
I
it,
would have
but I
said,
like
before the Wentz deal, I would have thought Washington. The perfect landing. But I heard they didn't even wait or anything on Watson. I don't even think they inquired on Watson with because their current PR isn't the best. Going out and getting someone that has some questionable, obviously not criminally, he's cleared, but with the question mark wouldn't have been the best thing.
Fits perfectly in Pittsburgh then.
He does fit perfectly in Pittsburgh.
Well, what about this?
Back-to-back quarterbacks here.
What about this? So Flores is gone in Miami. There is their GM like on the hot seat because of this controversy stuff.
Greer,
With the,
I think no, not really.
No, okay,
I think it's more the ownership.
okay. Well, I was gonna say if that GM's gone and everything, their whole mindset on Tua could just completely turn around.
Well, Chris,
And what if
Garrett's
they-
still there.
Who is?
Greer, who's the GM.
Okay. All right.
He's still there, and he came out very recently and said
Yeah.
they're not.
I
on
know.
it.
I know. I just think that'd be kind of funny if they went out and did that.
I think it's got to be a Pittsburgh, a Philly, or a Carolina.
And he has no chance of going back to Houston.
I don't think so. Well, let's what about Seahawks?
I was just thinking that too.
Seattle.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything, but I don't just something QB needy team. Indy.
Who's their quarterback now? I was about to say. I don't know who it is.
Indianapolis quarterback is currently like Sam Ellinger, I think. So that's an absolute. I mean, they might not win a single game.
Can't even say I know who that is.
You should.
Dude, he's a Texas guy. He said, "We're back."
Oh, okay. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yes,
I
you
know.
do.
Yeah.
I don't know
So
who the hell it is.
I have some very strong feelings towards him, and with him at quarterback, he's not even a real quarterback. I would predict them to easily get a little pick if he's.
No, he's terrible. He's a joke.
But with his supporting cast and the rest of that team, there's no way they're allowing him to go out and play.
Man, I think the Colts need Watson the most. Sounds like
They need him bad. Pittsburgh.
they have nothing. Who else is still out there, like quarterback wise, other than the draft? Nobody.
Winston.
Yeah, Winston.
Jameis.
I could honestly see Winston going to Indianapolis. I could see that totally.
It could be a spot.
I could totally see that.
Yeah.
What about the Bucks?
Dude, there's a lot of teams that need.
Oh my goodness, Watson to the Bucks.
No, Arians would not. Arians is not going to have
Really?
that team on his team. No way.
Mm.
But I think the Bucks are like, God, they're gonna suck.
They are gonna suck. Well, I mean, they still got the receivers though.
Not Godwin. Godwin's gone.
Oh, is he? Is he a free agent? Oh
Yeah.
shit, he is.
No Antonio. Dude, the receiving core is terrible. They just have Mike Evans now. You have no Godwin, no AB, no Gronk, no Brady, and you have Jensen.
Jensen. Yeah.
Jensen retired. On the you have your best or one. I mean, it's very good O line.
Yeah.
But a big piece of that O line is gone.
Yep. Damn,
that has been downgraded to maybe one of the worst offenses in the entire NFL.
That's hilarious. Yeah. That's
So, Christian, you were talking about a little bit about guys still available,
Mhm.
besides a Watson, who's obviously now come back into the limelight here. Winston was obviously mentioned.
Yep.
You've got a Teddy Bridgewater.
Ooh, Bridgewater, yeah.
And you've got a Marcus Mariota and a Mitchell Trubisky.
And we
those
got
are the only guys
Trubisky.
I'd say. Yeah,
Okay.
those are your big guys.
You got Winston, or we got Watson, and then Winston borderline. I mean, he can start in the right system, but not.
All right. Yeah, let's
And then you've got
place
two
these
backups.
guys. Let's place these guys on teams. Winston's going to
I just wanted to
Indianapolis.
mention, real quick, like when we were talking about the Bucks,
Okay.
that
go ahead.
NFC South, that is a bad.
Boy, did that
bad
turn
division.
around quick. Yeah.
You have
Holy
right now
shit.
the Falcons probably walking into the playoffs from that division.
Yeah. Yeah.
We might see a 7-11 or a 6-11 division winner, or a 7-10 team walking into the
Probably.
playoffs this year.
Probably.
Sounds
Falcons
like an
got-
NFC East move here.
Yeah. Well, Falcons got some wins last year too. I don't know how, but they did it.
They got Matt Ryan. They got
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts.
Yeah. They don't
So
have
that
Ridley,
is-
but I hardly had them last year either. So
That is a bad. That is.
that's the new
like I
NFC
said,
East.
You're going to have
Yeah.
a losing team unless a big move is made by New Orleans.
Uh-huh.
Unless New Orleans gets a good QB. I mean, if they have to start Taysom Hill, that's a
Yeah.
losing record. Carolina, without a quarterback, that is Sam Darnold starting. That probably not going to make it to 500. Like at Tampa, which are probably one of the worst offense. They've been relegated to one of the worst offenses in the league. That's not that they are probably one of the worst teams. I mean, the defense is probably going to fall off a bit too.
Yep.
And then, you
That's
got the
brutal.
Falcons, who's probably going to walk out of that as the winner.
That's brutal. And the Panthers could be losing McCaffrey because they're listening to offers. They're not
Yeah.
shopping them, but they're listening.
We'll take them. We'll take them. Eagles. Go to the Eagles. Let's go. We'll do it.
That's
Got
funny.
Jordan Howard. What do you mean?
Watch yourself. So one
All right,
guy I
all
want to
right,
talk
where do we
about.
want
last-
these guys? The teams.
Oh, we're going back. Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
So
Okay.
Bridgewater. Where's he going?
Bridgewater to New Orleans.
Okay. On my list here, I've got him linked, and this was a few weeks ago. So mind you, some teams have already been taken here. We got back to Denver. We've got to Washington. Obviously not going to happen. We've got the Jets, the Saints, the Steelers, and the Vikings for Bridgewater.
He fits in New Orleans.
All right, I'll give him to New Orleans.
All right.
Okay, who's next?
Marcus Mariota. Again, some guys have already been taken here. We've got Broncos, we've got Colts, we've got Commanders, we've got Dolphins, we've got the Niners, and again, pretty common theme here. We got the Steelers here as well.
Give me the Colts.
Yeah, I guess Colts.
I'd like to see him on the Colts.
A hesitant Colts by Christian.
Ooh, could you imagine running some option with him and Jonathan Taylor?
I know. I just can't imagine it because they haven't had a mobile guy.
That would be
So
I think that would be great.
maybe that could be good.
They
That
got
could
to
be
get
good.
some receiving help in there.
Yeah, they do. Because they got
Besides
aging
Michael Pittman
Ty.
as your number one.
Pittman is good though.
He's good, but he's not carrying any receiving core.
Yeah.
All right. So
All right, next
we've got
guy.
a Colts from Mariota, and then the last guy, well, there's technically a Ryan Fitzpatrick.
No.
All right. So the last guy that's interesting on
Trubisky.
this list here is Trubisky. Now, obviously, he's been pushed out of Buffalo for obvious reasons. So we're going to see, so there's a new team on this list here. We've got Broncos, Commanders, we've got 49ers, we've got the Texans, and then we've also, name I haven't seen yet, is the New York Giants.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I think Giants are interested in him.
Yep, they are. They have inquired about him, apparently.
Because
I mean, yeah.
I mean, the thing, I mean, we could go in and like, I know we talked about QBs, but we could talk about these all the time, like all day, because we don't know who's going to be moved.
yeah. But
In terms of trade, like we could talk free agents.
I did.
But there are also trade targets like Garoppolo.
Yeah.
He's probably on the move,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah. And
It's fair to say a lot of quarterbacks are going to be changing up for this next season here.
Gonna be
Already
another
happened,
shuffle. Yeah.
too. Yeah, it's already started.
Like 2019 when we saw that Brady was a free agent. But last thing I wanted to say was I did see the Giants are interested in bringing in Trubisky and having a QB battle in training camp with Daniel Jones. And I think that'd be very healthy. That'd be very healthy for that quarterback room. That'd be very good for Trubisky. That'd be very good for Jones. And that'll help propel him through the season because if you don't do well one week, you're probably not playing the next. And so that's kind of what the fucking Giants need because, man,
I mean, who knows why the Giants do what they do, but I thought they were committed to Jones for another year.
But yeah, but I don't know. We'll see if they go back on that. They're a mess. New head coach, and he seems like a good guy.
Yeah, he's a good coach.
As long as he's a good guy. So we've been talking about a lot of offense mainly, a little bit of defense there with Khalil Mack. The last guy I want to talk about, not free agent related, not quarterback, not defense. He's on the offense side of things here. Some interesting news came out recently about a certain receiver, Mr. Calvin Ridley. I know it's not free agency related, but out for the season, obviously for his gambling issues. We'll call it that. It's an interesting one. You don't see it a lot in sports. I mean, it happens obviously, but it's not very common. What are our thoughts on the year suspension for Ridley, where there's been no evidence that he bet against his own team? I don't know if there's that evidence he bet on his team in general.
He bet on the Falcons
to win. Okay, fair enough.
And that's why he lost his money.
Right.
He didn't bet on any game he played in either.
Right. So what do we think? I mean, do we think the season punishment is too harsh? Do we think it's
well,
I mean, what do we think? Because it's interesting, and it's an interesting way to end it, I think.
Relatively, it is harsh.
I think it's absolute BS. If you're talking relatively, I think it's absolute BS
Mm-hmm.
from the NFL. Look what the NFL puts up with, and look at the characters they have play.
Yeah,
and barely get suspended.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, I mean, so like the argument has been like guys that are like committing fucking assault and shit like that are only getting like a 6 game suspension. And then what's his name? Can't remember his name, but that receiver, Josh Gordon, like fucking 6 years.
Yeah.
6 years he spent suspended because of weed. And then I don't know. They're all over the place with their suspension policy bullshit, and betting I don't think is worth a year, especially when details come out about how like non-severe it was. But you know,
I mean, he only put in what, like $1,500,
yeah. I mean,
something like that.
yeah, I think it's a very simple formula. I mean, well, okay, not a formula. It's a case by case kind of basis. You know, you have all the facts, don't you? So if they have all the facts and they know there was a very small amount of money put into it, you know, none of it was to hinder any sort of like contaminate any game at all. So, I mean, you know all that, and you're still going to give him a year. That's a bunch of BS, and you know, that's kind of like sabotaging his fucking career.
Yeah, I mean, much less a year. Why is he getting anything?
Yeah,
The dude was on.
give him
he
a
was
fine.
on,
Give him a
He
fine.
was on the list.
Yeah,
Here's what I think. Here's what I think you do. If something like this happens and he doesn't, I think it's different if he bets on his team to lose. That's where I think the line's drawn. But, and then obviously for obvious reasons, you know, he bet on other sports and he turned a profit of, I think it was $2,700 on
For
different
him.
bets, whatever.
Good for
Yeah,
him.
I was about to say, maybe you want
Dude,
to pick up on.
betting is just like fun. It's just a side fucking thing,
Yeah,
man.
just because
Like,
why not? I
Yeah.
think
Okay.
I think you take his profits. That's the fine. Take the profit he made from it. He won't do it again. How about that?
yeah. Yeah, so like who knows? Because like maybe in these contracts that they sign, they do sign that they will not gamble
Right.
on their sport. So who knows if it's like kind of a contractual kind of obligation that they're
That's my
disobeying.
assumption.
So
But
yeah,
then
so
it
I mean,
would technically be classified as a breach of contract, which I don't think it's been classified as. So I don't
Yeah.
know if it's
dude, yeah,
I
they're
don't know.
very gray on this shit, and it's
Yeah.
and you know you just hate to see that he's gonna get a year off, that guy, because he is fucking good.
Yeah, he's
Well, I
off,
know,
and that's
yeah.
what I say. I can understand, you know, people being saying like what when I say nothing, but I say nothing because he was. I don't remember what the list is called, but he was on, you know, basically what is leave. He was not on the team. He was not around the team. He did not
Yeah.
count on the 53-man roster.
Yeah.
He was gone.
Mm-hmm.
Why can he not bet? He's not on the roster.
Yeah.
And then if
Exactly.
I think
give
that's
him-
probably where the contract comes into it. He's still
Give
on
him
contract.
3 or 4 games. A year?
Well, I think the problem most people
year.
have with it is kind of what Christian was talking about a little bit, and that was my whole for a person who's not huge on football. One of the things I know about football, and I think anybody who even remotely knows anything about the sport, is the off the field problems that some of these athletes have. Whether it's, you know, them not growing up with a lot of money and handing them $30 million a year, they do some maybe questionable things with the money, or, you know, you've had obviously situations in the past, like a Ray Rice situation, stuff like that. And obviously Rice is a little bit of a different situation, but in general, the suspensions for those sorts of acts, unless they're like criminal, aren't as harsh as a year. And correct me if I'm wrong with that, but I think that's more where people have a problem with it. It's one thing if guys are getting 3-4 year suspensions for, you know, beating their girlfriend or whatever, but that doesn't happen. Not that long, at least, for the exception of a certain few cases. I think that's more, at least my problem with it. And that there's an inconsistency with picking and choosing what kind of, like, there isn't a guideline for it. There isn't, all right, if he bets, you know, whatever, this is the suspension. If he does this to his girlfriend, this is his suspension. There doesn't seem to be
Yeah.
that. It seems to be case by case, which is good for some things, but when it's pure inconsistency and almost defies logic in some sense, I think that's more where people like myself, who may not be in tuned too big into the NFL, have more of a problem with it.
It's a bad look for the NFL because it shows that they care more about just like bringing justice to fucking gambling instead of abuse.
Yeah,
Like you
I
said,
mean,
like
it's
abusing
all
your-
relative. Like
I mean, it's-
Ridley, he didn't do anything illegal. He didn't do
No.
anything any normal person can do.
No.
Yeah. I mean,
Exactly.
he bet in Florida, and he bet on the only app that is legal to bet in Florida. The app company then notified the compliance agency for the NFL. The NFL hired, I think it's called Genius or something like that. Like
I don't think
they-
sports betting is legal in Florida.
No, it is.
Is it?
there's one, I believe there's only one app. I can't say I know what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a DraftKings. I don't know what it is, but yeah, because I think New York and Florida, quote unquote,
Okay.
legalized it relatively at the same
Had to be
time, if
recent.
I'm not mistaken.
Had to be recent, yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that I guess he was out of state, which is what pinged the company, and the company then told the NFL, which is how he technically got caught doing it. So, but yeah, it's like you said, Christian, it's a bad look, I think.
I just hate
Also-
like
It didn't help that I think his username, what he used for it, was like
C. Ridley.
no, it was like Ralvin Kidley or something.
that's
He
funny.
used essentially his name as
That's
his
funny
username.
as fuck.
So
Yeah. Man, that's funny.
Fair enough. All righty, gentlemen. Well, unless either one of you have anything else that you want to chime in with, I think we've touched and kind of rounded all the bases here, gotten to the quarterback situations, a little bit of defense with Khalil Mack, circled through Watson, and then obviously finish off with Ridley. Unless there's anything else, I think that's going to wrap it up for episode 5 here. Talked a lot about the NFL here. We'll be back early on in next week here on Monday talking about college basketball. Obviously, we got a big thing called March Madness coming up that I think a few people are aware of. So we're going to be talking about that next week. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you then.